Okay, now it's time for Johannes Näder, one of the policy project manager of the Free Software Foundation Europe, and will give us a hint on the open washing. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks you all for being here, and thanks SFSCon for giving me the opportunity to talk about open washing this afternoon, and yeah, sharing some thoughts with you on how to safeguard the free software market against unfair competition. My name is Johannes Näder. I'm working as a policy project manager for the Free Software Foundation Europe, and the FSFE is a charity that empowers users to control technologies. Technology, software is deeply involved in our lives, and it's very important that this software technology rather helps us than restricting us. Free software gives everyone the four rights or freedoms, as we say, to use, study, share, and improve the code. This is very important. I emphasize this here because it will be important for the further course of my talk. So as soon as one of those four freedoms or rights are not granted or are restricted, then it's not free software. It's not free software, also known as open source software. Free software is important for democracy. We need controllable, shapeable, transparent digital infrastructures, especially in times like these that are getting more complex and more difficult. And to achieve this, we need free software in public administrations, in education sector, and on private devices. To push for this goal, for this thought, to have more free software in public administrations, the FSFE started the initiative Public Money, Public Code some years before. And we have a very easy rationale. So why is software paid with taxpayers' money, not released as free software? We want legislation requiring this, that all software paid with public money for the public sector is to be released as free software. If it's public money, it should be public code as well. And this idea, public money, public code, is not meant to happen from today until tomorrow overnight, but we want incremental change across Europe on all levels. So why don't we start today or tomorrow with spending 20.48% of the free software, of the whole software budget to spend it on free software? But let's make sure that we arrive at spending 100% of the software budgets for the public administrations in free software in the year 2048 at latest. Maybe even before that, it would be good. Public money, public code has been a big success during the last years. We hear this slogan on everywhere around digital politics. It's well known, but we also see some problems. We see a lack of clear policies. There are loopholes. There are unclear wordings. We see a lack of implementation, lack of statistics, of numbers to measure progress, which is very important to see if we're moving in the right direction. And we see a lack of sustainable budgets for free software, which is also a big topic now, but not the one I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about problematic competition practices. There's more money in the public sector being spent on free software. This also invites players to start with problematic competition practices to get some of this share. This is why we have to be watchdogs if we want to push for public money, public code. And one of our watchdog activities is the one I'm going to present now. This is about open washing. Open washing, there has been a lot of talk going on during the last months, maybe years around this. Also this year specifically in the context of open AI, open source, artificial intelligence projects. Even though this is very active, this discussion now, it's not new and it will not disappear. So open washing has been happening since there was free software, aka open source software. It harms public money, public code, and it harms free software. We need to recognize open washing when it happens. We need to talk about it, and we need to contain it. In order to understand these practices better, we as Free Software Foundation Europe started earlier this year a community survey asking our community on mailing lists on the Fediverse on their thoughts about open washing. So what is their definition, what methods, what strategies are there, and what examples can they think of, what open washing examples can they think of, and what might help to do something against it. And we received a lot of answers. About the definition, there were some really interesting ones. So one person came up with the idea that open washing would be about open source washing machine, and I checked this, and there indeed is a project called Openwasher, which is about open source controller for washing machines. But this is, of course, not what open washing is about. So the definition that we are coming up with after doing this community survey is open washing means creating the misleading impression of developing, offering, or otherwise supporting free software while actually offering proprietary software. So two conditions have to be met. First, the product is not fully free software. So if it's not fully free software, then it's not free software. And there must be a misleading communication around it. So the manufacturer gives the impression that this software is free software. It's a form of fraudulent labeling, usually with the intention of gaining a market advantage for proprietary software products. Yes, to come up with some examples. So I will do this very quick, as we don't have a lot of time. But yeah, this one here, you have the this password manager. It's an online product. You can use it, and it's advertised as the trusted open source personal password manager. If I decide to use this product to store my passwords there, I want to trust that it's really open source. As soon as I check their code repository, I found out that they are using 2 different licenses for their code, and only one of them is a free software license. The other one is Bitwarden license, which doesn't appear in the recognized free software license lists by FSF, also Free Software Foundation, by the OSI or by the Debian project. So this one also restricts the user's rights, and it's not a free software license. So this project, this software, is not a free software, it's open washing. The other one, it's even easier example, free file sync, open source file synchronization. Here you don't even have to look in the code repository and just check the FAQ, and in the is free file sync free for commercial use? No, it's not. It's only free for private use, so the user's rights are restricted. It's not free software, but they claim it to be with their initial sentence. I might also come up with another example, maybe later if I have more time. Yes. So we checked. So from the community survey, we got feedback about methods and strategies, and we structured this a bit. And maybe important to notice that those strategies are usually combined. So usually in open washing projects, you see several of those strategies. For example, open wording. So there is a misleading name that contains open or free or buzzwording around the software, which make it appear to be free software. There's misleading licenses of proprietary software. So maybe free software license is used, but one sentence is added and the name of the license is changed. So it looks very much like the GPL, but really it restricts the user's rights in one important point. So it's not free software anymore. There's partly open proprietary software, which you maybe know as open core, or if there is a community and a proprietary enterprise, there's a community and an enterprise edition where the enterprise edition is proprietary, but this is not made clear. And there are other examples here, so maybe also I will say something to this closed server thing. So you have a free client and a closed, not open source, not free software server, like it is the case with Telegram. The software itself is free software, but the servers, it relies on servers that are proprietary. And also talking about pseudo-OpenAI, this where we, although we still on the way to a final definition what OpenAI might really be, it is clear that if training data, model, weights, and software, some or all of them are not free, then we cannot talk of free software or of open source AI. And we see this a lot during the last months that this is happening. Why is open washing a problem? It's a problem for different players. It's a problem for manufacturers. They they face unfair competition in public procurement. They are not awarded in procurement, and they face a loss of revenue. Maybe their developers lose income or even might face layoffs. It's a problem for the free software community because distrust appears. So are other players in the free software market trying this? Are they doing open washing? And it's a problem for free software as a whole because if a public administration procures software, ends up with open washing product, and the open washing product has a problem, everyone will start to attribute this to free software because they see it as free software, and yes, it falls back on free software somehow. Public administrations don't gain control over digital infrastructures. There is no interoperability. There's an ongoing vendor lock-in, and the general public is deceived about the sustainable use of taxpayers' money. So these basic goals of the public money, public code thought initiative, they are undermined, and this leads to damage to the whole free software ecosystem. Yes, and also it's a damage to potentially to the control of digital structures in democracy. Yeah, now we have a nice toolset. The problem is this toolset consists until now only of hammers, and if the only thing you have is a hammer, it's tempting to treat everything as if it were a nail. So there are other problems in the free software market and also in the procurement of free software than open washing. So this is something that we should keep in mind. Sometimes open washing, the term is used inflationary. Let's not do this. Let's really look if open washing happens, and we have now this definition. If it meets this definition, and there are other problems that might occur is in public procurement. Public administrations might procure software that later becomes proprietary, and it's a single vendor dependence. So maybe there's no community there, can't be any fork, or the software that is procured relies on a weak business model. So the manufacturer might be tempted to try open washing at a later stage, and there are other problems as well. What can public administrations do about this? Two things. They can reduce the risk of awarding contracts to open washers, and they can, of course, avoid own open washing. Reducing the risks can be done by gathering expertise and anchoring this expertise in reliable structures and institutions. They can come up and think of tender criteria and implement them in their procurement process to identify possible potential open washers beforehand, before awarding the contract to them. And they should, of course, maintain the ability to change and remain willing to learn in case open washing really happens, and avoid own open washing in case they are releasing software themselves. What can we all do? We should try to understand those strategies and methods of open washing. By the way, the list is not complete, so really, you can come up with other examples and identify other strategies also, but we should try to have a look at these and understand them. We should, of course, avoid own open washing. So if we are putting free software products on the market, then let's try to avoid this. We should, at the same point, raise awareness for this topic and talk about it. And we, especially we as civil society, should monitor markets and public administrations for this kind of behavior. And if we meet this kind of behavior, if we come upon cases of open washing, then we should ask questions, we should try to educate people, we should try to convince people not to do this, not to procure software like this. And this is also very important because one answer that we got in the survey is that open washing assumes there is a dishonest intention. Sometimes there is no dishonest intention, and it's our job also to convince these actors that they need to play fair and fix their marketing. And there are also people already out there doing this. So, for example, Dan Brown, he's a person who's running a repository where he's identifying open source confusion cases and trying to approach those people behind the projects and convince them not to do open washing. And he's indeed successful in some cases. This is also something that we can do, but it won't always work. So if it doesn't work, we should point out and criticize those cases where open washing is actually happening. And and also other market practices that harm free software. This is something that we can do and that we should do to avoid open washing. It will help public money, public code, and it will help to safeguard the free software market. Okay, last sentence, become an FSFE supporter to help us do this work and to ensure that all public funding for software is used for free software only.